Today we're going to discuss the Battlefield 2042 gameplay leaks. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of leaks, and I will explain why, but first, remember if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave it a nice, thick, and juicy like as always, and of course if you enjoy this kind of content, you want more like it, don't forget to hit that big red sexy subscribe button right underneath the video. Also gotta say I've been streaming a ton lately. It has been an absolute blast streaming with you guys. If you wanna swing by, say hi, be sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I am live. Last but not least, gotta thank my channel members. You guys help make these videos possible. If you wanna join, get access to the exclusive perks that they get, then don't forget to check out the link in the description or hit the blue join button. Anyway, let's begin. So he doesn't like leaks, but he's making a video about them. Well, part of the reason I don't like leaks is because they give a false impression of the game, especially in this specific instance. This build of the game is not intended for the public to see. It is intentionally built for a test. So therefore, it's not anywhere really near what we're going to see in the final product. And really what this video is for is to help clear the air for people who are concerned about that sort of a thing. This build is months old after all. It was submitted for testing on July the 29th, but it was built separately and designed intentionally for this kind of a test to be able to stress servers and other things like that. So if you were concerned that this was going to be Cyberpunk 2077 2.0, as some people wanted to tell me on Twitter, you can have your worries just dissipate. That's not going to be the case. I know I like to point out the trailers, and some people are like, oh, well, the trailers, you know, there's the downgrades people do all the time. I don't think that's going to be the case. Just the discrepancy between what the test footage is and then what the trailers is too great. And again, like I said, it is a much older build. We know this. So again, this video is really just to spread awareness about that sort of a thing. Also, it's just basic integrity. I know the internet is not full of the most virtuous people in the world, including myself, but come on, you sign something, you should hold up your end of the deal. We don't like it when DICE doesn't hold up their end of the deal, like with the Battlefield 5 live service and with the Battlefield 5 Deluxe Edition. So why should we not hold up our end of the deal? Just a little something to think about. Now, is the gameplay any good in the first place? And you know, there is some to take away. Again, it's a rough build, so it's not like you can go in and break down every little thing, but I do think there are a few mechanical things to take away and some things that I did like that I saw from these leaks. First of all, a lot of people were concerned with the increase to 128 players, whether it was going to be too condensed with chaos or whether the much larger maps might thin out the chaos. What's it going to be like? And I gotta say, the chaos seems to be about right. There are definitely instances where things get very explodey, whether it's vehicles above raining down hell on an objective, or whether it's just general infantry firefights. The chaos seems to be balanced really well to where it does pick up where it's supposed to, but it never feels like it's truly died down all the way. Like sometimes in BF5, it would slow down a bit too much on these Conquest large maps where it just feels like you're running around and nothing's really happening. It doesn't seem like that's really the case here. Definitely seems like there's always something to do. Now, speaking of infantry and firefights, the gunplay does look really, really good. It looks very snappy. It reminds me a lot of, say, Modern Warfare's. I have broken down in several videos that the gameplay is going to be BF5-esque in my opinion. And if you want to check those videos out, I'll have them linked below or on the screen. But it does look like it's going to be BF5-esque, but it also seems to have that snappiness that we saw in both BF5 and also in Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Warzone. Just that style of gunplay that looks really nice and quick, but also feels like you have to have some element of skill to be able to manage it. Now, another thing some people were concerned about is, of course, the vehicles. I know some people consider Battlefield 4 to be vehicle field. Other people like the vehicle meta in Battlefield 4. I mean, I'm kind of a third party here. I'm just glad that I can see the vehicles engaging in some kind of action, because in Battlefield 5, it was either tank sniping or cheesing with the Zeros or whatever bomber was on that map. And that just wasn't very fun, especially because it took like 3 brain cells to operate either of those things and get 20 kills with them. I'm just happy that we see the vehicles getting in action, whether it's helicopters zipping around the map, which again seem to have a similar skill ceiling to what they had in BF4, or whether it's the tanks charging into action. It always looks like the vehicles are going to be incorporated in some way, and that's what you want to see out of a combined arms game. Now, the map itself, despite it being in quite an early build, it looks gorgeous, and the colors absolutely freaking pop. Now, there are a lot of things that I think just aren't there because it is an early build. I think there's some atmospheric things that just aren't quite there yet, and of course certain textures and whatnot that just clearly aren't finished, and that's okay. Again, it wasn't intended for us to even see in this state, so I'm not too concerned with that. That'll be something that is definitely polished. There is some cool sound design, I will say. Whenever, like you see in the footage, whenever you're watching the footage and you see the soldier stop and you kind of hear whether it's the birds chirping in the trees or some of the wind going, like there is some cool atmospheric sound design that is ambient. I think that's really cool, and really it seems to immerse you in that individual part of the world that the map is supposed to be set in, and that's really awesome. As for visibility and lighting, another concern coming from BF5, which had some of the worst visibility and lighting in any FPS game I've ever seen in my entire life. It seems like it's pretty good indoors. Outdoors is hit and miss. I think again that just comes down to the state of the build, so I wouldn't be too overly concerned about that. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of dark corners, but it does also seem like some people pop out of bushes from time to time that weren't really there. It is what it is. Now, as for little things like the user interface and the heads-up display, I actually made a whole video yesterday discussing this exact thing, and those are going to change. I know it looks relatively simplistic, but that's because it seems that they're focusing more so on the gameplay and whether or not the game is actually going to function well and play well, and then finish up the polished user interface and things like the kill feed later on and add that in probably by the beta, so that once we get our hands on it, we can get a good feel for that cleaned up user interface. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below on the game. What looks good to you if you have seen the leaks? If not, let me know why. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this alleviated some of your concerns, and I will see you guys in the next video.